As she left the cave, the forest seemed to change. The air grew lighter, and the sounds of nature returned. The pendant glowed steadily, guiding her to a small clearing. In the center stood a single tree, its bark blackened as if burned by fire. Beneath the tree was a stone altar, and on it sat a glowing figure, Adisa. The witch's spirit looked up as she approached. Her face was hauntingly beautiful but filled with sorrow. "You have come far," Adisa said, her voice soft but filled with power. "Why have you come, child of my blood?" She knelt before her, overwhelmed by the weight of the journey and the truth she had uncovered. "I came to end the curse," she said. "I came to bring you peace." Adisa's expression softened, but her eyes remained sad. "Peace," she repeated. "Do you think peace is possible after what they did to me? They betrayed me. They destroyed me." "I know," she said, her voice trembling. "I saw everything. But if the curse continues, it will destroy not just them but everything you loved. I want to honor you, not let your pain consume the world." Adisa was silent for a long moment, her glowing form flickering. "You carry my blood," she said finally. "You carry my pain. But do you carry my strength?" She met her gaze, her own eyes filled with determination. "I do," she said. "And I will not let your story end in darkness." Adisa stepped down from the altar, her spirit now towering over Chi. "Then prove it," she said. "Prove that you are worthy of breaking this curse. Face the final truth." Before Chi could ask what she meant, the clearing faded, and she was surrounded by darkness once more. She clutched the pendant, her heart racing, ready for whatever came next. She found herself standing in an endless void, with nothing but darkness around her. The pendant glowed faintly against her chest, the only light in the emptiness. Then, a voice, Adisa's voice, spoke, but it was no longer soft and sorrowful. It was sharp and commanding. "You claim to carry my strength," Adisa said, her tone heavy with challenge. "But strength alone is not enough. You must prove your heart is pure." Suddenly, the darkness shifted, and she was back in the village square. But this was not the Umuagu she knew. The villagers were there, frozen in time, their faces twisted in anger and fear. At the center of the square stood Adisa as she had been in life, surrounded by the accusing crowd. She watched as they shouted at Adisa, blaming her for things she did not do. The pain on Adisa's face was unbearable. "Look at them," Adisa said, stepping beside Chi. "These are the people who betrayed me. They called me a witch. They destroyed my life." She turned to Chi, her eyes blazing. "Do they deserve forgiveness? Would you save them if you could?" Chi felt tears in her eyes. "They were wrong," she said quietly. "What they did to you was cruel and unfair. But if the curse remains, they will never learn. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means breaking the cycle of pain." Adisa's expression softened for a moment, but the scene changed again. This time, she saw herself as a child, being mocked and pushed by the same villagers. "They hurt you too," Adisa said. "They called you cursed. They shunned you. Do you not hate them?" She looked at the scene, her hands trembling. She remembered the pain, the loneliness, but she also remembered the few moments of kindness Chigozee's shy smile, the quiet times when someone had shared food with her. "I don't hate them," she said firmly. "I just want the pain to end, for you, for them, and for me." Adisa studied her for a long moment. Then, with a wave of her hand, the scene dissolved, and the void returned. "You speak with truth," she said. "The curse is ready to be broken, but it will require a sacrifice. Are you prepared to give everything?" She hesitated, fear clutching at her heart. "What kind of sacrifice?" she asked. Adisa's voice grew softer. "You will carry the curse into your own body. Only then can it be destroyed. The choice is yours." She stood frozen, her heart racing. To carry the curse meant taking on all of Adisa's pain, anger, and sorrow. It would mean becoming a vessel for centuries of suffering. She looked at the pendant, now glowing brightly as if waiting for her decision. "Will it hurt?" she asked quietly, her voice trembling. "Yes," Adisa replied. "But it will also free them. It will free me." She thought of her parents, the life she had lost, and the villagers who had hurt her. She thought of Chigozee and others who might grow up in a world free from fear. Slowly, she nodded. "I will do it," she said. "I will carry the curse so it can end." Adisa stepped forward, her glowing hand reaching out. "Then it is time." As Adisa touched Chi's chest, a searing pain shot through her body. She screamed, falling to her knees as the pendant burned against her skin. Visions of Adisa's life flashed before her eyes, her joy, her betrayal, her despair. The weight of it all pressed down on Chi, threatening to crush her. "You are stronger than this," Adisa's voice said, echoing in her mind. "Do not let it consume you." With great effort, she stood, her body trembling but her spirit unbroken. The pendant shattered, its glow dispersing into the air. The void around her began to crack, and light poured in. Adisa's spirit appeared before her, no longer sorrowful but at peace. "You have done what no one else could," she said. "Thank you." Before Chi could reply, the void disappeared, and she found herself back in the clearing. The forest was quiet, but the air felt lighter. The curse was gone. Chi collapsed to the ground, exhausted but relieved. She had done it. For the first time in her life, she felt like she belonged. The villagers surrounded her, offering words of gratitude and apology. Women brought her food, children smiled shyly, and even the men who had once mocked her nodded in respect. It was strange, almost overwhelming, to feel the warmth of their acceptance after years of isolation. The elders gathered under the iroko tree that afternoon, with Chi sitting among them for the first time. Elder Okachukwu spoke solemnly. "Chi, you have not only saved this village but taught us a lesson we will never forget. You have endured pain we cannot imagine, yet you chose to forgive us." He paused, his voice heavy. "We wish to honor you. From this day, you will have a home among us, and anything you need will be yours." She nodded but spoke carefully. "I don't need gifts or praise," she said. "I only need the village to remember Adisa's story. The pain she carried must not be forgotten, or the curse may return in another form." Her words hung in the air, and the elders agreed. They decided to build a small shrine at the edge of the forest to honor Adisa's memory, a place where future generations could learn her story and understand the cost of fear and betrayal. As the sun set over Umuagu, she stood alone at the shrine. The carvings on the stone seemed to glow in the fading light, and she felt a quiet presence around her, as though Adisa was still watching. "It's over now," she whispered. "You can rest." The air grew still, and for a moment, she thought she heard a soft voice, Adisa's voice. "Thank you," it said, filled with warmth and peace. Tears filled Chi's eyes, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of release, of knowing she had done what no one else could. When she returned to the village, she was met by Chigazi, who ran up to her with excitement. "Chi," he called. "Will you tell me the story now?" She laughed softly, kneeling to his level. "Not yet, little one. But one day, you'll know it all." Chigazi grinned, his small hand slipping into hers as they walked back to her hut. Behind them, the villagers continued their work, planting new crops, fixing old homes, and rebuilding their lives. For the first time in years, the village of Umuagu felt alive. She knew her journey was not just about breaking the curse. It was about creating something new, something better. The cry of the witch was no longer a sound of pain or anger. It was a cry of remembrance, a reminder of the power of truth, forgiveness, and courage. As she gazed at the horizon, she felt a quiet joy in her heart. The curse was gone, the village was healing, and she had found her place in the world. The story of the witch and the orphan would live on, not as a tale of sorrow but as a lesson for all who heard it. And with that, she turned toward the life she had earned, knowing she was finally free.